Hello everybody, today I will be talking about one of the most popular shows of all time, Game of Thrones. Now before I begin, I want to note that this video is being made after Season 6, Episode 5. It will include spoilers from that episode, so be warned. It's also important to note that if any future episode shows something that proves this video to be incorrect, I will update the description or I'll make an update video. So the focus of this video will be focusing on the most recent episode's development, which definitely proved that Bran can affect the past. So in the latest episode, we see Bran go back to the past and affect a young Hodor. Now this is interesting because it is what determines how Hodor becomes Hodor. By doing this, Bran is affecting the past, but apparently he's not really changing it because Hodor has always been Hodor. Now, the biggest confusion this has brought up among fans is that it seems that a lot of fans believe this means there had to be an original timeline where Hodor wasn't originally created that way. So another Bran got to the end of his timeline, created Hodor, and then Hodor began. And they are confused how this could possibly happen and why Hodor was even created in the first place. But the thing is that in certain models of time, you don't actually need to have a prime timeline. You can imagine that the timeline has always been like this. Hodor has always been destined to be turned into Hodor at that moment, just as Bran has always been destined to go back in time and turn him into Hodor. Now, this can be a little confusing, but I will try and go through some of the models of time to show how this is possible without any mystifying or magic BS, or just using plain language and real philosophical discussions that people have had towards the potential nature of time travel. So to do this, we can begin discussing exactly how time exists. There's a couple of different theories on how it could exist. The three main ones that I'll be talking about today are presentism, possibilism, and eternalism. In presentism, it's believed that only the present actually exists. The past and the future do not exist. With this kind of model, it's kind of hard to explain time travel into the future or the past since neither really exist. So I don't believe that's really a good model for how Game of Thrones models time. However, possibilism means that the past and the present exist, but the future doesn't. Now, this is interesting because it shows a possibility for going and moving back into the past. However, it doesn't really explain how you could ever affect the past, because the past already existed before someone in the present moved back. It is still technically possible to word your way around it, but it's a little bit harder to explain. What I think is most likely for the Game of Thrones universe is that it explains a state of eternalism. In this case, the past, present, and future all exist. That means everything has been done, everything was created this way. It's a very deterministic way of looking at the universe. To understand these, you can imagine the world we live in is a two-dimensional square. Now, that's basically just imagine those two dimensions are our spatial dimensions, the ones we can move around in. Of course, we don't live in a two-dimensional universe, but this will make understanding time a little bit easier. We can imagine that these two-dimensional things can be stacked up on top of each other, and that collection of spatial dimensions can be seen as changing in time. So that time could be that fourth dimension as the block grows. In presentism, you only just have that one small flat square representing what's currently existing. In possibilism, it's called a moving block, where the block slowly grows and grows as more and more slabs of present are added to the past. Eternalism is a little bit different. It's more like an infinitely long tube that already exists and does not grow or modify itself. In this tube, you can imagine people as noodles, where a circle would represent a person at any one point in the present, and their personal timeline is sort of drawn like a noodle as it goes through time. Most people's noodles will only go up or down. However, if time travel was possible, their noodles could go up and down alternatively, so they actually dip into the past or future. By doing this, it would explain that they were able to time travel, but it also explains that they had always time traveled. If you assume that this block was just created as is and wasn't generally grown, then nothing ever changed. They were always destined to go down into the past or the future, and this means that the past and future were never affected any more than they ever were. So this is what I believe is the best explanation for how Game of Thrones time travel is operated. There are important implications behind this theory. The main implications are: 1, we cannot have any major changes to the past. Bran cannot change anything we know definitely happened. However, he can affect things that we don't know about. For example, say Bran was able to go into the past, and maybe he was able to warg into someone there and cause them to bury a Valyrian dagger somewhere. Now, assuming no one ever picked it up, Bran could then go there in the future and get that Valyrian dagger. But because we don't know definitely that that didn't happen, he can still cause that to happen. So by doing that and by affecting the past, Bran still has a tremendous advantage, even though he can't change things that he knows for sure happened. Another implication of this theory is that this is a very deterministic and fatalistic world where whatever's going to happen is going to happen. It's quite possible that this means that the characters don't have free will. Now, we don't know this for certain, and it's possible that we'll see future developments in the time travel in the show that prove this to be wrong. However, this is heavily implied through the current model, and it'll be interesting to see if that affects it at all. It would explain how prophecies are possible in this universe. If everything is going to happen the way it's going to happen, then it would explain how prophecies could be accurate. Alright, and that's the end of the video. I hope you guys liked it. I apologize, it's a little bit sloppy and rushed. I came up with this idea kind of late, and I want to put it out to help anyone who's still having a little bit of trouble understanding the show's current direction. So if there's any other changes, like I said, I'll either make an update video or I'll add a change in the comment, and thank you for watching.